ESPN High School Basketball is presented by the Marines. The battle to belong begins here. Fourth quarter just about to get underway here with Oak Hill enjoying a 5-point lead over La Lumiere, along with Adam Finkelstein, Joe Tordy here with you. And we've been talking about MJ Rice a lot, but we've seen it in the past. It seems like any time that he's sharing the court with other top-level talent, he really elevates his game. He relishes the challenge.
Well, he's certainly stepped up this year, stepped right into a leadership role as a junior, and what I've been impressed at is he's been able to be effective without a high-volume style. This is a team that's exceeded external expectations. So whether he's out there getting 25 plus or whether he's out there playing in the flow and other guys are stepping up, he's getting the job done day in and day out.
It's a big shot by Akpara to cut the lead to 2.
And as I said, I think Akpara has played beautifully today. The shot making is just kind of the cherry on top, but the way he's passed the ball has been as good as I've ever seen from him.
Unable to save his own miss there was Cameron Carter. Akpara, like you said, usually relies on that shooting to help the team out, but he's helped out a ton. The last La Lu lead was 13-12. They could take it with a 3 here.
Akpara has traditionally been a guy who utilizes that frame and an aggressive style to really try and attack the rim, draw a lot of contact. He can live at the free throw line. So if he starts creating for others with that passing ability like we're seeing today, it really elevates his game to a new level. Great pass.
And Fears left it inside. Perfect finish as well by Keba Jai. As an offer from Dayton.
Jeremy Fears, just a youngster himself.
Sophomore running the show.
Yeah, terrific maturity for a guy that age. Not just to play the point guard, but to understand that he doesn't have to dribble the ball 20 times. He doesn't have to hunt his shots. So many guys his age think they need to put up big individual numbers to get recognition or to be effective, but he's got maturity beyond his years. Take a look at his head coach, Pat Holmes, there.
First one drops for Rice, and as you look at Oak Hill clinging to that 1-point lead.
And Joe, that's really the other thing about this La Lumiere team. Only 3 seniors in the rotation. So you look at the guys they're bringing back next year, they are going to be not just one of the best teams this season, but one of the very best next season.
And when you look at what they bring to the table and the experience that these players are gaining, you do have to keep an eye on them, as you do every year, but especially next year. All the way in, Rice was waiting for the lob, but Foster took it himself. Starling driving baseline. Good feed for Akpara.
It's the right play from Starling, though. He was spotted up at the three-point line in transition. He got run off the line, put it on the floor, drew a second defender, and made the right pass.
Rice has that one rim out. Stay here knocked out off of Thompson.
Really feels like we could play this game for another 2 hours and it would still be a 1 or 2 possession game. These guys have just been neck and neck the whole way through.
And not only that, it feels like the kind of game's been the same. Both teams drop anchor at the same time.
Yeah.
Both teams go on runs at the same
Well,
time.
and it's ironic, too, because Oak Hill's had this very slim lead essentially the entire way.
Rice works his way in, tries to chase his own board. Somehow it gets back to him. And just not on the same page with his intended target, Jalen Reed.
I thought that was a good no call there. You know, there was a lot of contact, but I thought Iwachukwu was set. He didn't flop. Rice didn't flop. It was a good, hey, everybody's set, play on.
Starling pulls up at the elbow, one-handed it in.
Yeah, that's big-time stuff from him. I mean, now you see as that stuff keeps coming, attacking the closeouts, adding the middle game, passing off the dribble. He made a pick-and-roll pass earlier. As those aspects of his game continue to come to the forefront and catch up with his catching and shooting ability, you're talking about a guy who's only going to keep getting better.
Here's the steal coming the other way, and Fears able to flush it in. If you're in J.J. Starling's ear, Adam, who are you telling him to watch as he looks to take his game to the next level?
You know, That's a really good question. I'm probably, instead of having him watch one player specifically, I'm probably having him watch one team that just really understands ball movement, because he's a guy that can catch and shoot, but again, it's the secondary parts of his arsenal that, as they continue to develop, that's going to be the next step in his process. So it's just about making the right play as the ball moves.
Foster gives it up for Rice. 2-1 to shoot. And that one splashed down Cameron Carter.
Well, what happened there? The Lalu defenders crashed into each other. They didn't have good communication in that screen. Gave Cameron Carter a half a second of separation, and that was all he needed.
Oak Hill lead back to 1. Leave inside Iwuchukwu. Can't leave him alone at the rim.
Another good action there off the continuity ball screens. Not a great angle there for Iwuchukwu, but he was able to collect it and finish it.
Carter got tripped up on his way in. Carter got knocked, but Akpara has been doing a little bit of everything here for La Lumiere.
Yeah, get another look at it here. The baseline rip draws the second defender. His passing has been on full display today, and it was Trayton Thompson who was the beneficiary there, but you know what? He made one of his own too.
We had a good one in the early going here, the first game of the afternoon, Bishop Walsh against Legacy. And boy, these two teams really did put on a show today.
Oh, they did, and it was the backcourt of Bishop Walsh that rose to the challenge of playing against Bryce McGowan's and Jacoby Wright. There you see Jalen Miller, number 1, but it was Ismail Habib, number 2, making the big shot, celebrating. He was as good as any guard on the floor here today.
Of course, we've got this matchup here, Oak Hill and La Lumiere, and then 1, 2, 3, and 6 in terms of high school basketball team rankings, all in action today, including 1 and 2, IMG and Montverde on ESPN at 7:30.
And speaking of guards, Kennedy Chandler, Trevor Keels coming up next. Doesn't get much better than that.
Here's our Super Tuesday doubleheader on ESPN and the app. Number 10, Tennessee's in Gainesville to take on the Florida Gators at 7 Eastern. Then, number 19, Duke squares off against Pittsburgh.
And you know, we'd be remiss with Florida coming up, watching Oak Hill right now, if we didn't say how great it is to see Keontae Johnson back with his teammates, the Oak Hill alum. After that medical scare he suffered earlier this season, just absolutely wonderful to see him recovering the way he is.
Really good news. Akpara has to go off his foot, but Lalu still has it with 2 to shoot. Akpara, bang! Akpara drills that one.
Pushing that La Lumiere lead to 4. And what, as I said, he's playing as good as I've seen, as well as I've seen him play. Got to check my grammar there.
Oak Hill had led for 19.5 minutes plus, but it's Lalu in front now.
And momentum's a powerful thing. You can see when things start going against you, all of a sudden the ball, it gets bobbled, it bounces off you.
Turnovers in the double digits now. We'll see if Lalu can build on this 4-point lead.
Ooh, risky pass.
A lot of contact. Rice fouled Akpara on that catch.
Yeah, Oak Hill went back to that diamond and 1. Got to keep that ball off the sidelines if you're La Lumiere. And remember, Jeremy Freer's just a sophomore. Got to be able to recognize where those trap points are and the pressure you're facing and keep the ball out of there.
Akpara working his way out of the corner, and he's drawn Rice as a defensive assignment. Iwuchukwu with a much smaller defender on him demanding the ball, but Fears couldn't get it to him. Another dangerous pass thrown to a vacant corner. And Fears commits the turnover.
Yeah, Fears is going to have to settle down here down the stretch. Started to look like a sophomore on that sequence.
Oak Hill looking to get back closer. That one thrown in the blender by Iwuchukwu. Rice from outside. Iwachuku with the board.
It's an outstanding defensive possession. I was just critical of Fears' decision-making offensively, but he made a terrific stunt in the corner defensively there. Iwachuku cleaned it up by finishing that great block for La Lumiere.
Big possession here. Offensive foul called on the moving screen by Thompson. Second foul called on Thompson. And the Lalu lead remains at 4. Inside 2 minutes to go.
Have to think that MJ Rice is going to get a touch here.
Rice number 10 in the class of 22. Number 0 occupying that right wing corner. Carter all the way in and elevates to score.
What acceleration that time. Attacked the closeout. Thompson had no chance to stay in front of him, but got off his feet so quickly.
We're back to a 2-point game. Fears slams on the brakes. Inside Thompson. Bothered by Rice, and here comes Oak Hill.
Yeah, Rice just pushed him right off his spot there.
Williams, bingo! Big 3 for Williams, puts Oak Hill back in front.
What a run, 5-0 run from Oak Hill. Rice with a big defensive play to muscle Thompson off his spot. They have the advantage in transition and do a great job of spacing to the corners in the open floor. Get another look at it here. Watch him sprint to the dead corner. That is beautifully executed.
Teammates love it as well as he puts them back in front. And we knew, dating back to their date in 2019 in the national semifinal, that this one was probably going to be a good one coming down to the wire. It hasn't disappointed that way, Adam.
No, it certainly has not. 2 exceptional programs, extremely well coached, competing to the max on both ends of the floor.
It's a pretty star-studded group here at the St. James. Look at 10 of the best seniors in the country, 16 inside the ESPN 60 for the junior class, and 1 inside the ESPN 25. All kinds of talent all over the place here, but Lalu looking for a bucket, hasn't scored in 2:15. Where do they go here, Adam?
Well, they're a team that doesn't really have one guy who they're going to ISO. They're going to have to score out of their action. They've had the most success with the continuity ball screen stuff they've been running. I would expect them to go back to that, but again, just a turnover there. Couldn't get the ball over half court in 10 seconds. And those are those growing pains we talked about with a young roster. Got to shake it off, though, and get back and get it to stop here.
It's the 3rd straight turnover for La Lumiere. Now a timeout called by Steve Smith of Oak Hill.
So clock management going to become a factor here. The interesting thing for Coach Smith to decide here is he going to try and get a quick look and get himself a 2-for-1 opportunities. 49.7 seconds left. If they can get a shot in about 12 to 15 seconds, they would thus allow themselves to get the ball back at the end of the game.
And you've had 2 guys, especially if you're looking on the outside, in Carter and Williams, who've been heating up, who have hit a couple of threes if that's the way that they go, and there's nothing easy inside.
Well, the way the game has been played down the stretch has been a microcosm of what we've seen for them all season long. MJ Rice is capable of putting them on his back when need be, but it's not necessary. They have other guys who can step up. They've done it in the second half today, and they've done it all week long here.
We'll see where they go coming out of this timeout. Inside 50 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. Carter all set to inbound for Oak Hill. Pressure applied by Fears, but Caleb Foster able to bring it up.
Trying to get Rice in the post.
They get it to him. Double comes. Rice gets it in off the window.
And again, Chisholm Akpara is 6'7", 6'8", 220 pounds, and MJ Rice just went right through him.
20 points for Rice. And a timeout called by Lalu. Rice occupying a lot of space down low.
Yeah, so coming out of the Oak Hill set, Oak Hill timeout rather, a design set to give Rice a post up, just go right into the chest to create space. It's not much subtle about that. That's just power and sheer force from a junior in high school.
Man, he just has, that's been a mirror image of so many times that he's gotten the ball today. And it hasn't always been pretty, like you said, Adam, but he has been really effective.
No, it just has a man's body and a man's game. And talk about delivering when it mattered the most. He's been the ball's gotten distributed more in the second half. He hasn't had to put him on his back like he did in the first, but coming through in the clutch when it mattered the most right there.
Since falling behind by 4, Oak Hill's been on a 7-0 run.
And they've really done it with defense. I mean, we're talking about their offensive performance, but it's been a few minutes since La Lumiere's had a really good possession.
Trying to get one here. Shot by Starlings off back iron.
Got plenty of time.
Akpara, and a timeout called before that shot went up.
Well, you can do that in the high school game, and you can see why you do that, because the instinct of high school kids, you still got 14 seconds left in the game, they're just going to start throwing up threes. Instead, good call from Coach Holmes on the bench, going to get to reset, draw something up. And you don't need a 3 here either. You can get a quick 2 and then a foul.
Take a look at how that was drawn up and how they got to that 3. They're drawing something else up here.
Yeah, so that's J.J. Starling coming off that pin down from Thompson. Got a pretty good look at it. But again, I don't think they need a 3. I think if you can get a 2, and when I say quick 2, I mean 3 or 4 seconds.
Sure.
Like super quick strike. Otherwise, you do need a 3. But if you could get a layup off this baseline out of bounds, you absolutely take it, especially when Oak Hill's going to be preoccupied with defending the arc.
Either way, inside or outside, they'd like to get it back into Starling's hands again. Here he comes. Starling for 3.
It's on line.
Iwuchukwu puts it up, 3 of his own. And it's poked away from Thompson. Ball on the floor, 5 seconds to play. Fears launches. And that is how this one ends. Fears looking for the foul, but Oak Hill able to succeed and hang on for their 3-point win over La Lumiere.
Yet another gutsy win for an Oak Hill Academy team that continues to prove that they are the sum that is greater. They are more than the sum of their individual parts, rather.
MJ Rice, though, as an individual part, pretty good. He was pretty spectacular today, 20 points, and he wheeled his team in the early going. Coming up next, we've got Sunrise Christian against Paul VI at 5:30. So for Adam Finkelstein, I am Joe Tordy saying so long from Springfield, Virginia, where the final score is Oak Hill Academy downing La Lumiere in an absolute nail-biter. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.